the computer, and I have 5:31. So welcome everyone to today's TechIdea pitch competition. We are so happy to be able to host this as part of the EUS Tech Week. EUS Tech Week, this is like the third year we do it. EUS Tech Week is an annual celebration for students to see what the engineering profession where can lead them, where your degree can take you with a variety of events during the week. So welcome, and my name is Katia Mark. I'm the Associate Director of the McGill Engine, and we also have our Director, Professor Benoit Boulet, here as well. So, and welcome to all our teams and our judges, and we'll get the ball rolling here. I'm just going to give a very brief outline of what the engine is for those that aren't aware. We were created about 8 years ago, in large part thanks to alumni donors. So what we do is we help develop next generation of McGill engineers, designers, innovators, change agents, entrepreneurs, by providing a variety of resources such as training and experiential learning opportunities, like the pitch competition here, advising, coaching, funding, and project mentorship. We're here to also promote and accelerate the commercialization of inventions and software from the Faculty of Engineering through coaching, funding, connections. And we also work with companies facilitating R&D collaborations with the Faculty of Engineering, all in the hopes of the community will make a positive impact and through driving innovation. And this just summarizes our pillars of support. You see the center behind, and obviously the space is a big resource available for students and professors. The funding I mentioned, the advising, coaching, the training, the collaborations. We have students that run a design consultancy. They're volunteers. They're offering for free to do logos for student teams, for student startups, as well as websites. So big demand. And we are a MITEX approved incubator for their Entrepreneur Accelerate program. So without further ado, we'll get into the TechIdea pitch. How it's going to work is the top 5 teams that are here today, they'll each get 5 minutes to present, followed by Q&A from our esteemed judges, and they will be using the following criteria: the degree of innovation, feasibility, competitive advantage of the solution, the degree of economic and or social impact, the effectiveness and enthusiasm of their pitch, and of course, how the teams answer the questions from the panelists. And if we have time from the audience, we'll see about that. Okay, and now I'd like to introduce George Xiao, who is the EUS Tech Week Committee Chair, to introduce each of our judges.
Yeah, thank you, Katia. All right, so the first judge today we have is Mr. Mitchell Weserman. Mitchell is an experienced entrepreneur leader with multiple successes, building sustainable technology-based businesses, driving high recurring revenue streams, and strong customer retention rates. He focuses on developing a corporate culture of excellence, teamwork, transparency, continuous improvement, and commitment to driving high margin growth. He obtained his bachelor's in software engineering and his graduate diploma in public accountancy from McGill University. Our second judge today is Ms. Ruchi Kurana, business coach at YES. At YES, Ruchi works with entrepreneurs at all stages of business lifecycle, helping them tackle issues such as cash flow management, marketing, expansion plans, and so on. As an entrepreneur herself, Ruchi recognizes that launching a venture can be both rewarding and challenging at the same time, and she aims to find ways to create a community of support for individuals looking to start or scale a business. Our final judge today is Mr. Bruce Tracy, currently a physics teacher at John Abbott College. Bruce is a graduate of McGill Engineering, who obtained his Bachelor of Engineering in Mechanical Engineering in 1991 and Master of Engineering Aerospace in 1993. And he was the president of the US in 1990 to 1991. During his time at McGill, he was very active in US activities, including founding REACH, the Summer Science and Engineering Camp, as well as founding the Pipeline that I'm sure we all know today. After graduating, he spent a few months at Paramax working on the domed EH-101 helicopter contract that was canceled by the federal government. Bruce continued his career with a small software company, Maya, doing computational fluid dynamics and heat transfer analysis for companies all over the world. Bruce shifted his career into teaching, first in England and now at John Abbott College in the physics department. Bruce is also the program coordinator for the STEAM-based arts and sciences program. So welcome to our judges.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And we'll get going with the first up, and you can see it's in alphabetical order. AvaChat, I am stopping my share and you can take over the share. And you start when you're ready because I have my timer, so.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Okay.
I'm trying to find your video here on the, let me just put you, I'm gonna pin you if I can find you here quickly. I'm not as much of a Zoom pro as I'd like to be. Well, okay, let me see here. You have your video on too?
Yeah.
Okay. And Simo. Okay. Okay, you want to go?
Yeah. Can you guys see the screen, everything? Everything good?
Yeah.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Does this look familiar? Frozen frames, chops audio, painful delays, and eventual disconnections. This used to be my reality a few months before I had to upgrade my internet connection. Well, I was privileged enough to simply call my service provider and pay for an upgrade. Others simply can't afford it or even have the option to upgrade. This is the reality for millions of people that simply want a proper online education, online therapy, or to see and smile at their significant others that live far away, just like you and me. Before you ask, no, the orange circles don't have anything to do with the spread of Corona. They actually showcase regions with a mediocre bandwidth or a heavy traffic, leading to a very limited access to internet. This limited access restricts millions of people around the world from accessing online communication and education tools, such as Zoom. Even Canada has many rural towns with extremely slow network speed to even no internet access at all, especially in the indigenous communities limiting their access to education. This shows that there are significant issues with the current video options out there that simply don't take into consideration these select populations around the world.
This is why we analyzed the current options out there and came up with 3 major problems. People that only have access to a low or average bandwidth, as we showed earlier, often deal with choppy, echoey, and pixelated audio visuals, hindering the overall communication experience. Voice calls also lack facial cues, which essentially encompass 2/3 of communication. Without these cues, we are left with many possible interpretations of what is being said. Also, certain populations and professionals rely on those during their day-to-day interactions. SLPs like me that work via teletherapy need to be able to see the articulator movements of their patients. I, for one, have been working with the Mohawk community at the Kanawake Survival School, and trust me, some days it was impossible to complete therapy because of the poor bandwidth. Facial expressions also allow listeners to focus their attention on the speaker, become more motivated, and allows them to gain the speaker's trust. Without these cues, not only will the communication be hindered, but the listener will also need to use more cognitive resources to be able to understand the message. Surprisingly enough, there is nothing out there that directly substitutes video chatting while still providing you with facial cues.
And that is why we came up with Ava Chat, a new way to experience video chatting. Ava Chat looks and feels like all the regular applications, but has one feature that makes it stand out: avatars. They're not exactly like the ones from the James Cameron movie, but we'll get there someday. So by using realistic avatars, we'll be tracking your facial features using trained AI models. Then we'll send around 100 coordinates to the network to the other user and place them on an avatar on his phone that looks like you. By sending 100 coordinates, the model of your face, instead of making a video made up of millions of pixels, will be sending around 20 times less data, meaning that for a typical data plan, a 1-hour video call would cost you $10, while a 1-hour Ava Chat call would only cost you 50 cents.
As we mentioned earlier, Ava Chat requires a low bandwidth of 16 kilobytes versus 300 kilobytes for video chats. And these calculations were confirmed by a McGill computer science professor. Second, avatars will become more and more realistic over time as technology advances, giving us an advantage. In fact, a study conducted by Moser and others in 2007 has shown that similar brain responses were evoked to avatar facial expressions when compared to real human facial expressions. AvaChat has the ability to transmit data over phone network due to low bandwidth requirement, making it even more accessible to populations without Wi-Fi. AvaChat also provides you with privacy. You can use a different avatar and not have to reveal your identity. And finally, AvaChat is the first on the market, which would help us establish strong brand recognition and loyal customers.
This market's competition graph clearly shows a gap in the market, where better communication represents access to facial cues and facial expressions. AvaChat seeks to fill that gap and satisfy the needs of millions of households around the world that are not represented in the two major quadrants. Our business model will be inspired by Zoom. It has a free option that can host up to 10 participants, giving you a basic avatar and a 40-minute limit on group meetings, and then a premium one, which is going to be cheaper for students. We're going to be able to host up to 300 participants, have realistic and customizable avatars, and of course, unlimited time.
In the future, we could also potentially integrate and license our technology with other companies and apps such as Zoom and WhatsApp.
Implementation. So in the short term, we'll simply gather a team of engineers and develop our MVP, then hopefully crowdfund our app. And then in the medium term, release our app and hopefully reach 3,000 users. And then in the long term, implement new features that will render ultra low bandwidth videos.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. So now we'll open it up to questions from the judging panel.
How do you, just catch it from an organization point of view, how do you want us to ask questions, go through each one of us or just
Yeah, that's
random?
fine. Go ahead, Bruce. You have one, ask them. Yeah.
Sure. My question is with respect to people's reactions to engaging with an avatar as opposed to engaging with the actual face and stuff like that. What kind of research have you done, or what kind of feedback do you have about people's reaction to talking to an avatar as opposed to the physical thing, even though it is reacting like the person, but it's still an avatar?
Yeah, so we've read a couple of research papers, and as my sister mentioned earlier, like the reactions were similar, and especially with the upcoming more realistic avatars, the reactions will be even more similar.
They activated the same brain areas as real facial expressions, which like the amygdala, which is the main brain region that gets activated for emotions and stuff like that. It got activated with these avatars.
Yeah.
For during that study.
And it's much better than simply having a voice call. So when you have an avatar plus a voice, it gives you even more information.
So just to make it clear for me, I still need my webcam to be on to capture my face, and then that gets translated into an avatar?
Exactly. Instead of sending that much data, like millions of pixels, we'll only be sending coordinates of your face.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting, because from what I understand now with online schools, students are not happy to turn on their cameras. Do you think this would change some of those emotions?
Yeah, of course, because sometimes like you wake up a bit late, maybe you don't look that good. An avatar will always look good, and it will simply track your features. Yeah.
And during therapy, for example, this could also provide motivation for certain students that we're working with to actually use avatars while video chatting with us. It's motivation enough for them to actually be present.
I have a question. Is this really, and it may be related to some of these other usage scenarios that were just mentioned, but when you first mentioned this solution as trying to target the low bandwidth areas in the world, the question is about how many people are there, potential users are there in those regions that have the capacity to pay the $2.99 or $3.99 a month for the solution, and is this decreasing? I imagine it is, as bandwidth becomes cheaper and more prevalent throughout the world. So is it just a short-term solution? Have you looked at the rate of decline of those low bandwidth areas as the telcos expand their reach?
Yeah, so I'll go back to that slide and show you the statistics. So it's simple. These big networking companies don't want to invest in those small populations. And they're not even small. Some populations simply don't have the resources. Even back in my country, in Morocco, we have fast bandwidth, but only in 3 major cities. When you go into the outskirts and you have 50% of the population that live in the outskirts, they don't have access to fast Wi-Fi. They have access to maybe 2G phone network and a 2 megabyte Wi-Fi connection. And even when you go to India, where the infrastructure is pretty good, but not the best, but there's heavy traffic. So it makes the connection even lower. And even in Latin America, where you can see that 67% of schools didn't have enough bandwidth to use online tools. This is huge. These applications are targeting 50% of the developed areas which are wealthy, but we're trying to target the other 50% that simply doesn't have as many resources, but deserves the same tools.
Is there any technical barrier to a competitive entry? Is there a technical innovation in leveraging the camera feed and creating avatar looks, or is this standardized technology that you're incorporating in your solution?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Have you developed new technology, innovative technology that is a barrier to entry to competitors in developing this solution, or is it using off-the-shelf frameworks or libraries that are translating the video image into avatar images or movements?
So our plan for the MVP will be using different APIs by Google and by different avatar companies, and then mixing everything up. And then we also have our own technology, our different encoders that will encode the data and make it even more, even smaller, easier to transmit. Yeah. So the same way how Uber did it and how all these companies, they didn't invent any of that data, but they had their own algorithms to track cars and all of that. So we'll have the same thing. So we'll have our own encoders, and hopefully in the future, 2 years from now, our plan is to develop better avatars that suits our needs and better AI models that suits our needs.
Okay, great. I'm the timekeeper, so we have to move on. Thank you so much, Avachat. And up next is Inato. So you can pick up the screen, Team Inato.
Is everybody able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, well, first off, before we start, I just want to thank everybody for joining us today and hoping that everybody is staying safe and healthy during these times. Right. Sorry, give me a sec. I wanted to connect to the audio really quickly. There we go. Okay, perfect. All right. So I'm going to start off with a seemingly simple question. Have you ever wanted to have supernatural powers, let's say star in a TV show, be a character in a well-known book, or be that of an actual athlete playing in a tight game? Well, we are here today to introduce you to a new technology that will allow you to control your body in an entirely virtual environment. Ennato is a multi-platform console with many different uses, like input devices such as a mouse, a keyboard, or a controller. This product converts one's brainwaves into machine language through electroencephalogram and brain-computer interface, commonly known as EEG and BCI. With this technology, users are able to experience the thrill of virtual games without having any physical movement. Ennato allows users to communicate, play games, and experience simulations on any output device. This program is entirely dependent on the user's thoughts, a new virtual technology that has yet to be introduced in our modern world. Nevertheless, our software dominantly supports paralyzed patients and the current gaming industry.
Our software can improve the mental health of paralyzed individuals as we provide the patients a virtual outlet and a means of communication to the world. Like video games, these simulations increases their dopamine, therefore motivating them to perform better in physical rehabilitations. For the general public, this unlocks a new way of gaming by introducing a new control system, telepathy. Game creators can explore a new realm. The desire of unraveling and experiencing interactions in the virtual world will allow our business to become successful. With the gaming industry generating over $100 billion, introducing this product will revolutionize the gaming industry.
With only these two value propositions in mind, and assuming we only track about 1% of the active gamers in the world, we will have well over 31 million users already. However, our target market is not the users themselves, but rather the adventurous companies who want to provide their customers with this new software.
Some competitors we have are Logitech, Xbox, and Oculus, as they make input devices. A new technology like this often requires people to be open-minded. Humans naturally resist change. Many people use the QWERTY keyboard not because it's convenient or spaced out nicely, but because we have established the muscle memories for it. However, keyboards such as Dobrak and Comac provide greater accuracy and efficiency. Once we step out of our comfort zone and embrace new technology, we will realize the benefits of it. Similarly, the experience Ennato will be providing to the users will be alike. Currently, there are experiments using EEG to predetermine strokes, products such as myoelectroprosthetic limbs, and existing ways to control machines. But there is yet a technology that connects all three together, using EEG to control virtual movements. Before using the software, users have to first measure their brainwaves, then calibrate in comparison to our model before implementing it. This process is used in many of our products today as well. For example, when we set up a fingerprint Touch ID on our phone and laptops, we repeatedly press our finger onto a button. It then buffers before we can leave the program and use it. The security system also uses the process measure, calibrate, and implement, allowing the already built system to be customizable to each individual's unique set of fingerprints. Other similar programs such as Face ID and voice recognition work the same as well. Of course, every project comes with indefinite technical and business challenges. Some business challenges we will be facing includes the uncertainty about the future as new technologies are constantly being developed, how our product will be received as it works closely with the human brain, the financial management as minimal income are generated at first, the regulation and compliances our product may infringe as we are measuring one's brainwaves, as well as recruiting the right talent to learn and grow with our company. As this is a more technical project, the hardest part will be accurately determining the user's desired actions. Due to the brain being a very complex organ, the recorded brainwaves are often scratchy and interrupted, therefore increasing the latency and decreasing its accuracy. One of the more accurate classification is the hidden Markov model, with an accuracy of about 81%. A McGill Neurotech team member has also disclosed that their project, brain-controlled wheelchair, has about 70% accuracy rate in their latency spanning several seconds, despite the fact that they only completed their project with 30 days.
As we mentioned previously, we aim to sell our products to the companies and not the users. We are a business-to-business company. The initial pricing allows companies to buy the software itself. The upcoming monthly subscription fees is for software updates and troubleshooting. These fees are tentative and they will allow further research and development into improving the accuracy and latency. We thank you for your time today and feel free to contact us if there are any further questions or inquiries. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So judges.
Yeah, just a question. It sounds really interesting, and I'm not an engineer, so I'm really glad that you explained it so clearly for me. Thank you. And I'm curious to know, at what stage are you in right now? Are you prototyping, or is it still research and development phase?
Currently, right now, we are still kind of more in the research and developing the idea phase because, like we said, there's a lot of technical things and research that we have to look into in terms of how we're going to work with the brain and what components we need to ensure that this software is put together properly. But a big part of why we believe this product is really doable, because as we mentioned before, this technology, it's not new. There's people who are working with EEG currently. And so what we're doing is essentially kind of taking it and creating it in a way that we're actually using it in a new application. And as we also said previously, the McGill Neurotech team was able to do a mind control wheelchair, and they did this in 30 days. So this idea is definitely achievable, but definitely right now we are more in the research and kind of processing the idea stage. Yeah.
How do you expect to stay ahead of Microsoft and Facebook, two of the largest companies in the world, with teams of researchers, an army of engineers that are working on the same type of product because they're in the same space, at least from a gaming standpoint?
For us, I think definitely one of the biggest things that we are trying to kind of develop and improve at is being entrepreneurs. So with this technology, like you said, there's competition, right? With everything, there's other people who are working with this technology as well. But one thing that we definitely notice that with startups and with businesses, the number one key to success is being good entrepreneurs and knowing how to not only market your product, but being able to network and use your different networks and the different resources you have to your advantage. And I think that's something that is really important to us. So both me and Joey, we're working to improve ourselves as entrepreneurs. We're taking, individual courses outside of school and inside of school as well. And just being able to kind of understand not only the technical aspect of it, but being able to put this on a market and being able to understand how can we make this successful in a way that it's bigger than just the technology, but it's something that can be implemented into our daily lives.
Can I ask, actually, I have two questions, but I'll ask one, and if there's time, Katja can let me go. You've talked about the idea that your product is going to be used in the gaming space, but then also for, paralyzed individuals to be able to do this. These are two really distinct entities. One of them could generate a lot of revenue. One of them could be much more socially, responsible or whatever, socially beneficial. Where do you see, where is your company mostly going to be? What are you mostly going after?
I feel like our underlying what we're trying to do is we're trying to help the society to be better and to help the paralyzed patients to have a means of outlet, as we explained earlier. And because a lot of time when you're paralyzed and you're not able to move, you tend to give up on yourself and become very sad or depressed or just have negative emotions in general. So we feel like our main focus is probably just trying to help the paralyzed patients. However, in order to do that, in order to have a better accuracy and decrease in latency, we need to have the funding for it. And therefore, we will expand to the general market, as I'm pretty sure a lot of people will probably enjoy a different type of gaming. Just like when usually in the past, it was just keyboard and mouse. But then when controllers were introduced, like companies such as Xbox and PS4, they thrive even further. So we believe that with our product, we will also help prosper in general the gaming industry, but more focusedly, we want to try to help the world to become a little bit a better place.
Well, Bruce, how extensive or difficult is your next question? Because we should move on to the next, but if you think it's going to really help you in your assessment, go ahead.
It really comes down to, you talked about the accuracy, the latency of it. You're referencing what other people have done. You have no data about what you have done with respect to your accuracy of your input, right?
That would be correct.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Next team is Smart Eyeglass.
Hi everyone, is it audible?
Okay, you can go ahead when you're ready. I am timing. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Good evening. Today, before I present my idea, I have one simple question to ask. I have one simple question to ask all of you. Have you ever used any apps to count your calorie intake? According to a survey, most of the smartphone users have tried using one or the other fitness apps to whether for calorie intake or for the calorie burnt. Out of those people, 80% of the people are not used it for a longer run, let us say for a month. So we are here to tackle that problem. Who are these people who are using these apps? These are fitness freaks. These are people like you and me who are involved in business and technology and employment cars, who are doctors, who are nutritionists. And there are current methods which apply, and they are food frequency questionnaires. They are multimedia diaries. There are apps which try to take the data from the user and try to see how much of the calorie you have taken for that particular amount of food intake. These methods have some of the drawbacks. First of all is that they suffer from low accuracy because people are prone to underreporting and miscalculating the food consumed. And these people because you have used this, you know that these are tedious and they lack robustness, as well as they are not automatic. So we are proposing a solution for this. So we are trying to automatically monitor the food intake using a motion sensor. By this motion sensor uses the jaw movement and try to actually detect the kind of food a user is having. What is its benefits? It has a better accuracy. It is very simple and lightweight. And one of the main unique feature is there is no need for the user to input any data into the application. And it is easily integrated into the existing methods. Like it uses a Bluetooth Low Energy 4.0 technology, and it can be integrated into already the business tracking apps like we have Fitbit or the mobile apps. So I present to you this smart classes. This is our prototype. So we have developed it after 1 year of research. So this is comfortable and it is practical to use in a day-to-day life. And we tested this device in two environments, first in the in lab and then in the free living. In lab, the person is just sitting and is not doing any of the other activities, and the person is allowed to eat the kind of food. And in this studies, we achieved accuracy of more than 98%. For the free living, the person is doing his own regular activities, like he's going to college, he's attending lectures, and for that we got an accuracy of more than 86%. So as we got a very good accuracy in both of these environments, which is a very significant aspect, we thought that this can be a preferable wearable for any of the particular for daily intake to record the food intake. So there have been many competition, but this is a novel approach. There are still the people who are in the research phase as me. So one of the people who are actually working ahead are the people who are working on an EMC, their EMG sensor. They're using an accuracy, but as you can see, they have achieved an accuracy of less than 80%. And there is one more team, a research team, who is working on piezoelectric approach. By attaching the piezoelectric approach on the neck, they have created a neck band and they're attaching your sensors on the neck band. but this is very limited. They have not tested this system in outside of the lab. And as you can think, like attaching a sensor on the neck is not a better way of to do it in a practical or day-to-day life. So we wanted to get revenue used by collaborating with the organizations who are already specialized in the fitness tracking environment, and we wanted to use social media and online stores for distribution. So this is our journey. We started our research in March 2019, and then we have our portable hardware designed in September 2020, and we have a target of customizing the app, which can be used for health conditional users. And we are thinking of launching our product by September 2020. And hopefully, if everything goes good, we'll have a customer reach of 0.5 million by the end of 2021. So we are a team of two people who are working, me and Syed. Syed has 6 years of working in the biomedical field. Me, I have a work experience of 2 years working in the telecom company. Along with that, I have worked on 2 startups. So what we are looking for a funds of something around $400,000. Basically, we want to hire more engineers and for the advertising sector to reach our product to more and more people. Yeah, thank you. I'll be ready to take any of the questions.
Arun, I like the innovative approach of using the glasses for this. From what I read in the presentation and heard from you, you've got the technology now with high degree of accuracy to detect chewing and to detect whether the item being chewed is hard or soft. Can you detect whether it's celery or chocolate? Each have different calorie and health components?
As of now, as we completed our research, as of now, we were able to differentiate four different types of food, depending on the 4 different types of hardness. As of now, we have taken banana, cucumber, rice, and wheat bread. And with that, we got an accuracy of more than 88%.
So if I could just follow up like that, when you're saying the accuracy, you're actually asking it for, of these 4 things, which is it? As opposed to, differentiating between a Big Mac and an Angus burger and a pulled pork sandwich or something like that.
This is under a research field, because still under a research phase. So as of now, we have taken only those 4 components, those 4 food items. But in the long run, we are working on that to attach a camera sensor on that, on top of the already existing, to distinguish the quantity in which that particular food, if first our machine learning algorithm will detect the food, and the camera by capturing the photo will detect the quantity, and then we can analyze the calorie intake.
So go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead, go.
So at this stage then, when we can tell the difference between cucumbers and wheat bread and rice, what is the application practically for your launch? So what kind of target market are you going to target now at this level?
Yeah, so at this level, we are trying to target, we are in collaboration. We are trying to collaborate with other research team who are already working on actually analyzing the food intake calories using the photo apps. So we are trying to collaborate with them, and then we along with them, we are going to go in the market by September 2021 with the people who wanted to reduce weight and who wanted to keep track of their food diet.
So your end goal is to replace MyFitnessPal and Fitbit tracking and all that stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
How far are you away, in your opinion, to be able to track and successfully track, like your 86% accuracy? That's really awesome. But again, it's only a limited amount of food. How far away are you in development, insofar as time and costs, maybe, to get to the point where you can tell me to about that kind of accuracy what I ate for lunch?
Within a span of 4 months, we'll have everything ready, because we are trying to collaborate with other team who have already having a research team, and they have developed research papers like us in the field, and they are able to take photos using the photos, so they're able to detect the calorie intake. So we are trying to collaborate both of the research and then come up with the product.
Is that Professor Željko Žilić's team? So they're both, the professors are in the same department at McGill, so that makes it a little easier too, right?
We are still on because I can't disclose it, so yeah.
Okay. All right, great. I think we have to move on because of the timing. It's 11 past 6, so thank you so much. Next up is Petience.
Thank you, Katya. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. Screen 2. I'm sorry, it's wrong screen. Screen 1. Okay. All right. Can you guys see the presentation?
Yes.
All right, so we'll start. So good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Shirley, and this is Kyla, and we are from Patience, aiming to provide services to all pet parents in a smart way. So I will start with my story. This is my boy, Toby. He's now 2 years old, and it's still him at 9 weeks. So being a pet, there are only 2 things that he needs to worry: food or play. But being a pet parent isn't as simple as that. So the first thing I need to think of is food, and then vaccinations, trainings, even groomings. So how to access to those services or informations with reliable sources remain as a huge challenge in pet parenting process. And not only the pet parents are facing the problems, so do the service providers. So the biggest questions is how they can continue attracting new customers in this digital world. We we see from this chart that digital platforms are significantly affecting the pet services or products. But when there are problems, we also have opportunities. So what we propose is to create a platform that connects both credible service providers, SB, and pet parents, PB, by centralizing and managing the information for both ends. Ultimately, we aim to provide a comprehensive, interactive, and user-friendly platform to ease the pet parenting process by allowing them to access to all services at one click, while at the same time enabling the service providers to meet more customers. So looking at the market, we see a promising and steady growth in the pet care and healthcare industry of 3.3 or 3%. And there are also roughly of 8.2 million dogs or cats in Canada, and almost 2/3 of Canadians adults own more than 1 pet. So now I'll pass the time to Kyla to present the value proposition and business model. Kyla, please.
Yeah, thank you, Shirley. Okay, let's now talk about our value propositions. Our platform is aimed to provide pet parents with the pet profile bookkeeping service, reliable information, and professional guides, and other customized services based on the breed and age of pet and also the preference of pet parents. And as for our service providers, we can help them gain more exposure, connect their online and offline services, and manage their customer profiles. Moving on to the next slide, our business model. The expenditures of our business will be mainly on software development, IT infrastructure, branding, human capitals, and channel and distribution. As for our source of revenue, we have commission revenue, subscription fee for both pet parents and service providers, and advertisement revenue. Let's do a simple calculation. Our total addressable market will be 8.848 billion Canadian dollars, which is the annual expenditure on pet for Canadians in 2018. And we assume that we can reach 60% of our customers due to regional accessibility and the number of smartphone users in Canada. We also assume that we can take 50% of the market share, and we take 2% of every purchase as our commission fee. What will be our commission revenue? It will be $53 million, and it's only one of our sources of revenue. As of speaking of our competitive edge, our platform would have a game-based user interface and user experience to ensure a joyful and relaxing using experience for pet parents and maintain a relatively high degree of customer stickiness. Besides, the information and guides provided on our platform would come from reliable sources, so that the pet parents will gradually build more trust in our platform. Lastly, this employment of smart algorithm will make customized or even personalized services available for pet parents, and all these factors will lead to a benefit for our service providers, in a sense that not only will they have a steady pool of customers, but also they can have a chance to stay on tune on customer trends to further tailor the service they provide. Okay, in terms of progress, yeah, as of today, we've been working on the validation of our ideas. And in the next stage, we're trying to reach out to our stakeholders to get their opinions on our project and to attract some investment. We're also going to recruit a few more people based on our needs in order to make things happen in our stage 3. And to introduce our team, Shirley, you already seen her a bit earlier. She's the founder of this project, and I'm the co-founder. For the moment, we're just a team of 2. And special thanks to Johnson Chang, who graduated from McGill in 2019 and gave us a lot of advice. And these are the references we used. And once again, we're from Patience, and we chose this name because we want to say that if you want to have a pet, you need to have some patience. If you feel lost, don't worry, we'll help you. Don't abandon your pet, not until the algorithm abandons you. Thank you very much for listening. Any questions?
Well, I think insofar as the pandemic is concerned and the data coming from pet ownership and how that's taking off in North America, I think your timing is wonderfully impeccable and rather lucky on that respect. So well done there. My question to you is, how are you going to get into this? Because you're talking about developing an app and getting it out, and usually the more recent thing is like be the first person to give something away free so that you can develop a user base. Are you planning on starting off by giving this away free to like a pet owner like myself to start off with to get a user base, or how are you getting into the market?
Yeah, for this, we're trying to like develop a platform using a game base. So that's our competitive edge and also entry point, because it's gonna be fun. Because when you need to use an app to like enter the information of a pet, it's pretty tedious because you need to fill out those long forms. It's pretty boring, right? But like in our app, you can just create a 3D figure of your pet, and you can just interact and talk with the figure, so that you can trigger more functions. For example, if you want to like pin the information, you can just have a dialogue with the figure. So it's gonna be like, hey, mom or dad, or whatever you want your pet to call you. So like, I can now lick the hair on my back, and it seems like I've gained some weight. How much do I weigh right now? So you can just enter the weight of your pet. So it's gonna be much joyful.
Yeah, and of course not from the beginning. We'll talk about free. For example, some services will be free, and some features will be free for all pet parents. Not everything will be will be priced and everything. Only when you're using a services, as we see commissional fee, that will be, we will take that transaction fee from there. Yeah, so some feature, for example, we didn't show in the slides, but some of the features that we designed to have is like learning programs. So those learning programs we designed to be free, and so that's a way to attract and get into the market, to attract the pet parents to use it. Yeah.
I agree with Bruce. I think it's a large and growing market. Speaking as a non-pet owner, maybe you could comment on the competitive landscape. What other apps are there out there for pet owners? And aside from the approach of gamifying your user interface, which is a good one, what are you up against? Is there one big dominant competitor? Does anyone have any type of market share, or are there independents that are selling?
So when we do our competitor analysis, we realize most of our competitors are still small firms or startups, entrepreneur projects. So as for now, though, the biggest one could be PetSmart. That's the biggest one in the market right now for us. But one of the things that differentiates with them is that we center us on pet parenting. We're not an e-commerce that sells the food and dog food. This is a central difference from us. So we attract the pet parents first, then we generate, connect with the service providers. So that's a different process for us and differentiate PetSmart than us. Comparing to the other small projects or other small firms, The biggest one is that they don't have a smart algorithm. For example, when they are trying to bookkeeping their services, like for example, the information of the pet, it's very tedious. That's why we came up with the game ideas to, this innovative idea to make it fun, make the pet parents to enjoy the process. So that's why this is the competitive edge. Yeah, that's why, this is through the competitive analysis. Mm-hmm.
So, I also don't have a pet, but I'm assuming that I would come to your platform. Let's say if I needed a dog groomer, I'd come to your platform and look for a dog groomer. And then, so I'm assuming that your commissions are going to be on when I select a dog groomer and then I make an appointment, and then you'll charge a commission on that fee. However, the next time I need grooming services, what if I don't, like, what would keep me on your app? Because I can also just circumvent the app and then make the appointment directly with the groomer for the next time. So what would keep me on the app?
So I think this is the same way you wanted to use Airbnb, and because our business model is pretty much the same as Airbnb. Besides Airbnb, they provide the room services, we provide the pet services. So the same reason you want to use Airbnb, which is reliable transactions, you know this person, everything. You want to keep track of everything. You want to make sure that when you use our platforms, everything is tracked, everything is recorded, and your groomers will know all your information's ready. So for example, when you go to a groomers, you're going to need to know what kind of pet they are. And then so because we are also service providers, also our customers, so we're also managing the data for them. So that's why the service provider, they're not going to have their own database and secretly doing their own, side of tracking and everything. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to create and managing the same thing for service providers. So that's why when this kind of circulating methods will not happen, because service provider also rely on us to provide this, the informations and services as well. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much. So we're just a little bit behind time. So
sorry, just before you go on, just Shirley and Yangzi, if you guys are looking for a beta or an alpha user, just hit me up and stuff. I have a pet, and away you go.
Good. Thank you so much. That's great.
Thank you so much. So last but not least is Trust Care. And I forgot to mention at the beginning, there will be an audience favorite while the judges will be deliberating. So audience members, be attentive. And sorry, there's not enough time for your questions, but okay. So Trust Care is up next. What just happened? Okay, there we go.
Sorry, I was muted. Are you able to see my screen? Desktop? Yes. Oh, yeah. All right.
We can.
Let me try to, oh, sorry. All right, you can still see it, right? I just changed to the present mode.
Yes, we can.
Perfect, just let me ask, Rofeng, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So good afternoon, everyone. We are Trust Care. Today, we are going to give a talk about our project. Imagine one day you send your grandma or yourself to a long-term care facility for more professional care. You may wonder from time to time, did she eat? When is that? What did she eat? Is she happy today? Do caregivers take good care of her? Do they wear masks during pandemic? I believe most of you desire to know those information. However, in reality, the residents' family members won't.
I think your page is stuck.
Ah, it's not changing to the problem page?
No. Yeah, I can share it if you want.
Maybe share it, I guess. I'm currently in China, the internet is always unreliable. Sorry about that.
Maybe we could use avatars. Anyway, never mind.
Yeah, you can start from this page.
Okay, from the imagine page, just give me a second. It's stuck. Sorry about that. Just. Okay. You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So imagine one day you send your grandma to a long-term care facility for more professional care. You may wonder from time to time, did she eat? Why not that? What actually she eat? Is she happy today? Do caregivers take good care of her? Do they wear masks during this pandemic time? I believe most of you really desire to know those kind of information. However, in reality, the residents' family members won't be able to know the quality of care received at any time they want. And it is very common that caregivers couldn't respond quickly. This will potentially lead to distrust between family members and care staff. So our group aims to build trust between care facilities and family members by creating a real-time intelligence system using video monitoring. This system can let family members know their elders' real-time status and able to assist caregivers to respond to emergency faster. Based on our stakeholders' feedback, we found that 88% desire to know their elders' real-time status, and 65% of elders are willing to give consent to be monitored. Also, around 60% of care facilities think the system can improve their care service.
Next, I'm going to talk about our product. So we will have a fixed camera in the resident's room to take videos of scenarios within the room. And next, our intelligent camera will use some on-device prediction models to extract textual features from the video, and the features could include the presence and activities of caregivers and residents, and also the detection of emergencies like people falling down. Next, we are going to have this real-time information updated on both family members and caregivers' phone through our mobile phone app. So we already have some existing applications in the market with the idea to review the real-time status of the residents. However, most of the solutions are focusing on helping with the care facility management or doctor diagnosis. But the only existing option left for family members is just the inefficient granny cameras. Well, Trust Care fills this gap. So we are the first to market to fulfill family members' needs with an intelligent solution. And our system is fully autonomous because there's no wearable devices or human operations needed at all. Well, by developing the on-device learning method, we guarantee that all the processing is local in the camera. So there's no transmission of video and thus no privacy concern at all. What's more, our system can also be applied in hospital, home care, or even daycare settings, simply by changing the features we extract. Well, it's obvious to see the problem we are trying to address is not limited to certain region, but the initial target and users we want to cover are the 95,000 elderly people in Quebec who are living in care facilities and whose families are willing to use our system and who are willing to give this consent to be recorded. Well, keeping this number in mind, we can look at our business model. So we have two options for revenue. The main option is treating the facility as a reseller, and they purchase our system as part of their services. We also have an option for home customer, where individual families can also have our system based on a monthly payment. Coming to the cost, we can see, well, the main cost of our project is about development. Well, once the development is finished, the marginal cost for any future new implementation is actually very small.
So this is our team. We are all graduate students with solid engineering and science background. Finally, come to our timeline. We will start software development now and proof of concept by the end of April. Then we will simulate care facility for about 2 months. After that, we will set up test environments in local facilities and start running our pilot project and optimize our project until the end of this year. This is all for our presentation. Thank you very much for your listening. We are opening to questions now.
So just to be clear, there's going to be a video camera in the room, but you don't actually transmit that video to me in my app. It just gets translated into the textual.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. I mean, this is actually our competitive advantage over the granny camera option. Because the granny camera will transfer this overwhelming video data to the family members. It's inefficient, and sometimes it can also cause some legal issue.
Yeah.
So what we do is we will have this efficient textual data to just let the family member know what's happening, but not disturbing them.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Thanks.
Have you developed the event-based computer vision recognition components, or is that still to be developed between now and your launch in April?
Yes, so for current stage, we are still just finished our brainstorming process. So we have applied for the Engine Tech Accelerate grant, and once that grant is approved, we will have our development board ready, and we can start our developing process.
I'm just wondering about costs here, because the costs for taking care of my elderly father in a care home is quite substantial. This would add a cost to it. What percentage of the cost, like, is this going to add 20% to my cost? It's not going to add 20%, but how much is it going to cost compared to how much I have to spend already on long-term care?
Yeah, based on our stakeholder analysis feedback, we didn't find a in-loop. We haven't get a very detailed calculation yet, but based on the feedback, for those family members who are currently living a long-term care facility, especially private one, they are willing to pay up to 10%. And so this probably we're gonna consider this the threshold. And also based on our survey, we found the majority of family members are willing to pay at least $35 per month. But this type of money probably would count as more like a home care use.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, if there aren't any other questions from the judges, I know I apologize, it's already 6:33. You were supposed to be in the deliberation room at 6:20. So I will now move the three judges into their breakout room. It's just them in there deliberating. And in that time, we will do our audience votes, as well as there's an announcement from the Tech Week folks. So let me go ahead and do the transition to your room. Wonderful, Bruce. And I'm just going down in alphabetical. And Richie, there we go. So what do I have to press? You're right there, and
We're still here.
yeah, I know. It said, okay, there it is. John, and aren't you having a message to join?
Oh, there we go. Yep.
Okay, all right. It was me. I had to press another button. Okay. So the three of them are moving, and while they're moving, there was a quick announcement from Shirley, and then we'll do the audience vote. I have the poll set up for you guys to vote right after this announcement. Go ahead,
Okay.
Shirley.
Hi guys, I'm here again. I'm also part of Tech Week, Joey as well. So I wanted to share with you guys our Tech Week. So as you know, this is TechIdea is part of our Tech Week events, but is in collaboration with Engine. I want to quickly introduce our team. So basically about us, Tech Week, as Katya already mentioned initially, we're a week-long event focusing on celebrating and showcasing engineering professions, as well as learning more about career aspects, prospects, current trends in engineering, and ongoing research here at McGill. So for those of you who don't know, every single year our events will going to happen at the end of January, like this week. So it's a great chance for you to join other events as well. So our members have team of 5. So our George, you've seen at the beginning of this event, George, and Tynan, Fuddy, Shirley, and Joy. Yep. So quickly present the schedule for all of you. So tonight, just right after this event, we have another TED Talk, 5G TED Talk. So for those of you who are interested in that event, quickly go to our linking page. We have the Zoom link for that. Come to join. We have external speakers. We'll talk about 5G networks at Bell. And then tomorrow, unfortunately, the speed networking event's already full, so we're not going to open the store for that. But on Friday, we'll have Among Us with Professor. So if you're still interested in that, register. We can put you on the wait list. You know, always wait list. Some people drop out, so it's a good choice. So here's the information and registrations. I'm going to copy this in the chats for all of you to see that in case all of you guys are interested. As well, we will love you guys to leave us some feedback. So this is a Google form. So next year we can make it even better. So that's it for me. Thank you. The Google form is also here.
Okay, thank you so much. I've got to get the poll going here now.
Yeah.
Thank you. Poll, here it is. And I am launching it now. Anonymous poll for attendees to vote. Everybody sees it? Yeah, okay, great. Let me see if my little, not minimize. Ooh, is that too loud?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Good. Gosh, I only get one choice.
Correct. It's one audience favorite. One favorite for the audience.
Not easy.
I know.
They were all good.
I think that was probably enough time, right? So 97% have voted. That's me who's abstaining just because I can't decide right now. So all right, here we go. Ending the poll. And I guess I should have had the drum roll now too, right? Let me just get back to here. The audience favorite is, based on our poll, it is Trust Care, with 37% voting for Trust Care. And then you can see the others, pretty tight. Oh my goodness, extremely tight. So congratulations, Trust Care.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. In the meantime, if there's anybody that has some questions for any of the teams, feel free to ask them right now. I don't see why not, because I'm sure the judges need maybe I'll time for another couple of minutes here. Does anybody have any questions?
Hi, Katya.
Hey, Kevin.
I have a question. Yeah, this is wonderful pitch competition, and congrats to all of the participants. I have a question, not specifically, but for Avatar. It's quite an interesting idea, but how do you think this idea will sustain after COVID? You know, when the time we transform from remote to in-person, and eventually things and business will open up again. Do you consider this idea still will be beneficial and have a market?
Absolutely. People will still always need to communicate even with the low bandwidth. And even whenever you're using your 4G or 3G, like even in Canada, 1 gigabyte is so expensive. So if I'm on the streets using my 4G, I'm not gonna want to use a whole gigabyte for a 1 hour call. I could just use Ava Chat and use 50 megabytes, which is nothing. And also because you have different systems in different countries. I also know that in back in my country, in Morocco, people use 3G a lot because our Wi-Fi is not the best, but our 3G and 4G is pretty good. Yeah, video chatting is very expensive on 3G and 4G. So our app is not just mainly focusing on Canada, it's focusing on the whole world, on the whole countries where Wi-Fi is underdeveloped.
Thank you.
Hi, I have a question.
For me?
Yes, for you. I really I do like your idea in terms of being able to translate, sort of human emotions into an avatar. I was wondering, mainly because I've worked with professors in McGill who focus on like HCI and who have focused on this problem quite a bit, at least this semester. What do you think from a human-computer interaction perspective might be some of the pitfalls that this technology might have? Because at least in the domain of HCI, something that's very important is that users understand how let's say you're using something and a human notices that the system is behaving differently from what they are in reality. That can create a lot of frustration and a lot of, how do you say, like people just won't want to use a product. So how are you going to correct for that? Let's say if your system fails, how are you going to make sure a user can, let's say, maybe change the mood of their avatar? Because failure is always going to happen at one point, right? When your system is converting.
Change like the mode, what do you mean?
Well, you're using facial expressions to present an avatar. That system will never be foolproof, right? It can always fail and get the expression wrong. What do you do in that situation? Because from an HCI perspective, that's pretty important, because if I'm on a video call and for some odd reason, if the system starts thinking I'm angry when I'm laughing, how can I correct that?
It doesn't work that way. Our stuff simply tracks your eyes, your facial expressions, and sends the data. And the tracking systems out there are like 99.5% accurate. They're extremely accurate. Even right now with the trained AI models, like at least our plan right now is to use the trained AI model by Google, and that has been on millions and millions and millions of.
I'm with that. I agree with you there.
Yeah, I was leaning more towards the Ava chat one, the avatar one, just because of like, the idea that, Mitchell, what you said is, I think you can do this. You can really do this. Like this has legs almost. So that's where I was leaning more towards that. But I'm more than happy to go with Trust Care. I think it's there as well.
I'm happy for Trust Care #1, Ava Chat #2, and the pet one if you think so.
Yeah. Neither of us are pet owners, so we're relying on you, Bruce. It's got to be community focused. There was an insurance company that focused on that, and they built a community around just selling insurance, and they were really successful at doing that. But I think it's got to be the community offering. It can't just be connecting buyers and sellers. And
I think so. I mean, my wife does this app like Down Dog for yoga, and it's this. Oh, you do? See, like, and what's your opinion of Down Dog?
I love it.
There you go.
Indian, right? So I hate yoga. I'm the worst idiot in the world, but I do yoga now because of Down Dog.
There you go. See, that's the community I think that they need to go after, and that feeling. Anyway, that would be my opinion.
It's tough, eh? I know I don't want to interrupt you guys, but how much more time do you think you need?
I think we're done.
Okay, and I'll let you guys decide who wants to make who wants to go first with third place, one of you, and then second place and first place.
I'll tell you what, I'll do third place because I'm the pet owner and it's going to be the pet thing, so I'll do that one.
Yeah, I don't mind doing #2, Ava Chat.
Okay.
All righty, perfect. Okay, so I think we just have to leave this room and we'll enter the other one.
Do you want us to say their names as well, or just the company names?
It's fine, just the company name. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, let us leave the room.
In the previous, people used to just doesn't follow diet, but when they used to go to doctor, they used to just miscalculate or mistell them. So this is also one of the important. And thanks for your feedback.
Great.
Everybody, the judges are so fast. They've completed their deliberations and are here to announce the third place, second place, and top place pitch in today's TechIdea pitch competition. Drum roll. Bruce Tracy will say who is in the in the third place.
I just want to say congratulations to all 5 teams. It was very, very cool. There were, I mean, when we were doing the scores and stuff like that, there were a lot of scores and it ended up being very tight and a discussion amongst the judges. So whether you're in the top 3 or not in the top 3, actually well done, because it was very, very close. I'm happy to actually announce that in third place was an app that I'm interested in beta testing myself for my dog. So the Petchins, if I'm pronouncing that right, is the team that's in third place. So well done, you guys.
So Shirley is the host for the other thing, and her teammate left for work. So like on behalf of Shirley, what she asked me to do is to say thank you that you guys liked her presentation.
Thank you.
In second place is Ava Chat. Congratulations.
Hey. I like sister and brother team. There you go.
And drum roll. And first prize goes to Trust Care. And I'm happy to say that it's incorporating computer vision, something I believe in and use a lot in Sport Logic. So good luck to you.
Yeah,
great.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And for our judges, the audience favorite was Trust Care, but it was also extremely tight for all the teams. So that speaks volumes to all the teams. You all did a great job. Thank you so much for your efforts. And I'll email you all the details for the prizes. Those are, you know, they're not thousands of dollars, but it is some money for you all. And we're really happy that you took part. And some closing words from our director, Benoit Boulet.
Thank you, Katia. I just want to thank everybody for participating in this event. This TechIdea pitch competition was great. I found it to be very innovative. All the teams had great presentations. Thank you, thank you. Thank you to the judges, Ruchi, Mitchell, and Bruce. We appreciate enormously your time and your dedication to this. Thank you to Katia for organizing. Thank you for the engine staff. Thank you to the participants. You guys did extremely well. I thought, again, the innovation was amazing. Keep doing it. I encourage you to pursue your ideas. And the engine will be there to back you. We have programs, as you know, the Tech Excel and so on. We have mentorship. Thank you to all. And it was a great evening.
And thank you, Benoit, for those concluding remarks. And I know they're concluding, but I'm just going to ask if the judges don't mind, if the teams that want to reach out for any perhaps questions or clarifications, they can reach out maybe through LinkedIn, and you have to give details, not just a blank LinkedIn thing, okay? Give some details. So thank you so much again to our judges and everyone. Have a great rest of the evening.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.
And enjoy Tech Week.
Congratulations, everybody.